A lot of Muslims are trying to give me a hard time online, as if they are perfect people. I'm sure they're not watching porn and drinking alcohol, and they're perfect examples of Islam, these people.
Why are you, again, putting people down? God told you in the Quran to be a person of justice. God told you all that, and you just disrespected God. Ever ask yourself why people immigrating from the Muslim world coming to the West? Because your beautiful country have bombed the heck out of everybody, colonized, raped, and enslaved people for the last 500 years. You forgot that, didn't you? Role of Andrew Tate in instigating and stirring some of the negative feelings for these racists and Islamophobes, and maybe some of these white supremacists to attack and cause violence against the Muslim community in specific, and terrorizing lots of innocent civilians. Many people have accused, and we're going to get to know today if it's right or wrong, Andrew Tate. They accused Andrew Tate of being behind or being one of these factors that led to this. So let's start by delving into some of his videos and tweets and check for ourselves, okay? So right here I have this first tweet. You're going to see it here on the screen. He's actually calling out brown people for over-reproducing and called them cancer. You know, I put it in a question. He didn't say basically cancer, but again, he hides behind these little tricks. So for me, basically, he called them cancerous cells. Why would you call other human beings as cancer cells? Astaghfirullah al-Azim. This is so despicable, to be honest. Anyway, this is one. Let's continue to the next one. Next one. He called Tommy Robinson, who've been attacking Muslims left and right. He's dedicated his life for attack of Muslimin. Your own brothers and sisters. How if somebody comes and attack your brother, would you just sit there and call him a G? This is hypocrisy, to be honest. This is totally hypocrisy. You have your brother. You're always basically showing off that you love your brother. If somebody comes and attacks your brother, would you call that person G? Well, bro, that's not a G attitude. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. You just pride yourself on being a man. And to be honest, this is so unmanly to throw your brothers and sisters under the bus by befriending this Islamophobe, this racist, this criminal, this hater, and calling him a G. A'udhu billah. Let's go next.
I think a lot of the confusion, though, about Islam is a lot of the problems in the Western world are from migrants, perhaps, or from people who are from Islamic countries. So people have a problem with Islam.
What the heck is that? Like, is this person living in Mars or something, man? The Muslim world, the Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America have been suffering from the Western colonialism since the 1500s, man. What history have you studied? But let's see if you can defend these views.
Some of the first world Islamic nations are the most beautiful places on earth. Bahrain, Kuwait, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. These are gorgeous places with no crime. And you're going to see, with no tax. And the tallest buildings in the world, perfect roads, 0% tax rate.
No tax.
Yeah, no tax. Explain that, government. And they built these beautiful places and everyone's safe and society functions and everything's gorgeous. Obviously, you have third world Islamic nations with problems. You can go to Africa and find third world Christian nations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you will see how they treat women. People say, oh, Islam's bad to women. We'll see how they treat women in Africa and Christian nations.
You're right.
It's third world versus first world.
Look, I'm going to give it to him. Like, I have to be fair. You tried to defend Islam here, fine. I get it. It shows some good heart there, man. But you can't throw non-Muslims, Christian third world countries under the bus to defend Islam. This is just nonsense. I'm a Muslim, and I've been speaking for Islam for the last 20 years. We care about every single human being in the world. Muslims, Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, atheists, we care about everybody. We care about rabbits and cats and birds. This is what makes a Muslim. And you crossed the red lines. One of the things that attracted you to Islam is the red lines. You respected the red lines. You respected that you fear God, that God must be feared. Then you're doing things left and right that has nothing to do with what God wants you to do. So I want to make you hear your own words right now, because this is the scale I'm going to put you on to measure if you're a man or not.
If you're tolerant of everything, then you stand for nothing. So once you say I'm a Christian, but I tolerate everything under the name of tolerance, well, then you no longer have any beliefs. So if you have no beliefs, then all of it is garbage. If you're the only way you can worship a God is if that God gives you instructions, and if those instructions are adhered to and respected by the followers, and also if the followers of the particular God, I'm not going to say names, stick up for and defend those beliefs and are prepared to be ridiculed or prepared to be stigmatized. And two, like I said earlier.
So this is This is what you're saying. You're saying if God gives you instructions, if God gives you instruction, and if these believers, and you're claiming to be one, they stick to these instructions. Well, are you doing that, man? Are you doing that, man? Seriously. God told you in the Quran to defend your brothers and sisters. God told you in the Quran to defend the poor and the needy. God told you in the Quran to be a person of justice. God told you all that, and you just disrespected God, as you described it.
God to me is something to be feared.
Yeah.
God to me is someone that people are afraid to mock.
Yeah.
God to me is someone that you have to go out of your way to prove something to. God to me has red lines.
Yeah.
God has red lines, but you don't respect them. You said you have to go out of your way to prove to God who you are. You don't do that. You disregard God's commands. Like the whole conception of why you loved Islam, that God must be feared, but God must send in some instructions and command. God should set the red lines, and the believers should stick to those rules, stick to these commands, and not disregard them. And you just broke every single thing that you say. You say. I'm literally measuring your manhood based upon what comes out of your mouth. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ رِجَالٌ صَدَقُوا مَا عَاهَدُوا اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِ. Men are those who keep their words God has in the Quran, and you don't keep your words. As you said, a man takes a hit for his principles, for his values, for what he stands for. Because you're the one who said, if you don't stand for anything, you don't stand for nothing. But I don't see that you stand for anything, to be honest. Now, you've released a couple of videos, and you tried to retract, you tried to basically recorrect. So I'm a fair man. Like, you've apologized before. On Piers Morgan, you've apologized for things you've said before becoming a Muslim. And to be honest, I still remember that. Because I'm criticizing, I got to be fair. So let's listen to some of your videos here and evaluate them. Again, did you cause some people to go nuts and hurt some people? Because you will be asked on the day of judgment. If you caused a person, in England to riot and to cause violence because he listened to you, you're going to be held accountable. So let's listen to this video, guys. Bismillah.
A lot of Muslims are trying to give me a hard time online as if they are perfect people. I'm sure they're not watching porn and drinking alcohol, and they're perfect.
Why are you, again, putting people down? Bro, remember that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says arrogance, which is a blocker. It blocks you from going to heaven. Some people send you messages. They're trying to give you some advice. They're critiquing some of your behavior. And it seems, as you can see, you cracked some red lines. You deserve some criticism. You're putting them down. A man takes criticism. A man apologizes when he's wrong. He doesn't go and attack people personally.
I reverted to Islam because I felt God. And also some very good friends of mine gave me some amazing advice. And I'm on a journey like everybody else to learn. And God knows the truth of my heart. And God knows how hard I'm trying. I'm not going to allow some people who are imperfect themselves with Twitter accounts to try and come along and tell me how to be a Muslim. That's the first thing.
Why not? If somebody's giving you genuine advice to help you better your behavior, to become a better man, why don't you want to listen?
The second thing, I don't see why it's anti-Islamic to believe that a country should have borders. I believe that if you're going to go to any country in the world, including the UK, you should turn up at the airport with a passport. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that people arriving on boats, unchecked migration, irregardless of whether they're from the Islamic world or the African third world Christian nations like Rwanda. There's a lot of people who are Christian who are arriving on these boats. I think the whole thing is disgusting, and I think it undermines the sovereignty of a nation state.
Have you ever asked yourself why people immigrating from the Muslim world coming to the West? Because your beautiful country have bombed the heck out of everybody, colonized, raped, and enslaved people for the last 500 years. You forgot that, didn't you? Bro, your dad is black, man. You're half African. Just have some emotional intelligence. Have some empathy. Go read some history. You know some of this stuff, man. They came in and the country has rules to whoever comes in and stays in. Are you speaking about illegal immigrants? Or are you speaking about people who came in as asylum seekers? They're welcomed by the government. That's what the UK stands for. You know, the liberal, the human rights and liberal ideology. Bro, can the UK handle actually all the brown people leaving England? Who's going to do all the dirty job of the country? You have to give some respect. I agree with you and all the Islamophobes that all the Muslims, they should leave Europe and the UK and North America and go back home. But bro, where are they going to go? The countries that are all failed states and in a state of war because of the West. So stop, just seriously. You got so, you're not making sense, man.
And you should be a law-abiding citizen.
Law-abiding citizen. Who the heck is it? Like, why are you generalizing? Bro, this is generalization. This is silly. A man doesn't speak like that. A man comes with statistics that, 50% of immigrants are murderers. Show me the statistics. Show me the data. How many brown citizens are there versus brown illegal immigrants? Do you have no data?
My point of view is that when you have men who feel that they're going to lose their lands, they eventually become enraged. And if you don't give them any kind of outlet, and typically an outlet would be allowing them to have a voice, a fair voice, which allows people to understand and respect their concerns. That doesn't happen in the West. You're not allowed to say that you're upset or you're concerned about anything. You are instantly labeled and shut down and shut up. And if you take something and pressurize it, eventually, if you over-pressurize it, it explodes.
This is gibberish. First of all, every white person in Britain has a voice. They vote people into government, and they have the right to basically do whatever they want. Okay? That's number one. Number two, who the heck said that allowing immigrants into a country destroys the country? In Islam, our principle is that people of different colors and cultures can coexist together through respect and through knowing one another. Some of these white racist Islamophobes have never ever basically cared about getting to know Muslims in the first place, or reading the Quran, or reading our beliefs. Why is there hate? Because of ignorance. And you're giving an excuse for ignorant bigots to be enraged, and you're giving excuse to their violence. This is totally ludicrous.
I have Muslims messaging me about how I need to take their side. I have the British messaging me about the fact that I was raised in the UK and I should take the British Patriots side. I've made it clear that I think people should only enter the country legally, and I believe that people who were natively born to a land have a right to that land. And for it to be conquered by military-age males from far away is going to be upsetting and distressing.
Conquered by military-age men. This is just look, this is drama. But again, to be honest, I understand you're trying to do this because you want the clicks. You want the drama because you're an entertainer, you're a social media influencer. But again, I'm telling you, I'm just letting you know that you're crossing the lines that God has set for you. You don't follow the rules that you believe in.
You can't preach the idea of a multicultural society, then ignore the views and concerns of one particular culture within that multicultural society, especially if you're pandering to those of another culture, and especially if the culture being ignored is the native culture. You can't do that without expecting violence. Perhaps you'd ask, maybe they do expect violence.
So your argument is the white majority, if they're angry with the brown minority, it's fine for them to cause violence or to at least be angry. This is twisting history. Who have let these brown people? Who shipped them from Africa, or specifically from Southeast Asia, by force to work on the infrastructure that made Britain what it is? Was it basically by force or no? Was it basically people, did the brown people came and forced themselves upon the British? Or they came and then they got jobs and they paid for these jobs and they built the country and then they're part of the economy? Again, I'm going to stop right here for today. To be honest, I was very disappointed. I'm very disappointed because some people were impressed by you because you reinvigorated the whole masculinity in the world. I have to give you credit for that. But to be honest, you're losing. You're losing your battle. The battle is with your own nafs, your own self first. Can you conquer your own self? And I see basically you've been defeated by your own self. Masculine person is a person who have conquered their own self first. And they adhere to the lines, to the red lines of the beliefs that they acquired or they believe in. And to be honest, I don't see any of that. And again, maybe to conclude that you might have pushed somebody to do violence and hurt somebody, and you will be asked for that. So, my advice is for you to apologize and to backtrack and to learn the lines that God has sent you so you can adhere to those lines, because you've said in many different places, I'm still learning. Are you learning?